All right, what's up, everybody? This is hashtag homeless day number 5. Day number 5 of being homeless. And I had to sit there and think about that for a second because, oh man, it's so hard to figure out what day it is, even though I have a watch with a calendar on it, and a phone and computer, and I am a well-equipped homeless guy. So yeah, YouTube kind of blew up this morning and last night. One of the videos was getting crazy amounts of views. I woke up to a stack of emails and comments from you all, and that was really fun to sit and answer those. It's kind of, nobody really had anything bad to say. No, there weren't any "you suck" or "you deserve this" comments. So that was cool. That was nice to see. Hopefully, I'm in a park. I'm in a pavilion. It doesn't even look like it's going to rain, but I'm just trying to find a quiet place to sit here and talk to you all. And that is so hard to do in this town. This is it is not, I wouldn't even call this a city. I mean, technically it's a city of Jamestown, New York. But this is not a city, but it's loud. It's as if I'm in downtown Pittsburgh or Washington, D.C., or New York City. It's just as loud as any other big city I've walked around in my days. And so you're just going to hear noise in the background, cop sirens, big banging noises, and birds and everything else, and there's nothing I can do about it. At least not today. Let's see, one of the comments, at least two of the comments were, how do we send you money through PayPal? And all I'm really going to say to that is, I'm not sitting on the internet sidewalk shaking my virtual chicken bucket looking for people to give me a handout or drop money in the bin. That's not me at all. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not putting up some GoFundMe or whatever, homeless on Kickstarter. I'm not doing this. And I'm not one of these YouTubers who purposely go and be homeless so that they can have a YouTube channel about being homeless. That was something that I thought of doing at one point in time. I did have a pickup truck turned into a mini camper with a shell and a bed in the back and a couple of drawers with all my camping gear in it. And, that was a vehicle that you could actually live in and live in comfortably. The bed in the truck was more comfortable than the bed in my house. That's gone. So that was something that that I thought of from time to time, but never really got around to doing. And, the only reason I'm doing this right now is because a few of my close friends said it would be a good idea. And, who knows what'll happen from there. So with that said, I'm not taking a handout. I'm not setting out a virtual chicken bucket on the sidewalk here for people to throw money in. But the one thing I do have that any of you might be interested in is photography, art to hang on your wall. Whether it be a photographic print that you can go and buy a frame for and hang on your wall, or a nice wall-sized high-end metal print that comes ready to hang. I offer those things. But right now, you'll have to go to my website at litgood.com, and just check out my photography. And if you see something that you like, you see something that you would want to hang on your wall, go all the way down to the bottom of the page on the home page of the website, and you'll see a contact form to send me an email. Send me an email. I'll get back to you directly, and we can go back and forth about how, what photos you like, what size prints you want, whether you want a photographic print or a, nice piece of banging wall art to hang up. Before this whole downward spiral in my life took place, I had a full functioning e-commerce enabled photography website. You could log in. You wouldn't have to log in, but it was a store. You could go there. You could see things that you like. You could order a print just as if you were on Etsy or one of those other platforms. I maintained it. I'm a web developer. I'm a web designer. I'm a video producer, a photographer. I can do all that stuff. I went through a life crisis. I lost everything. I'm still in the recovery phase of even getting my digital life back together. I do have all the source code for my website that I used to run, but I just don't have the time or the means to get that back up and running. I'm in for, anywhere from 50 to 150 bucks a month just to keep this thing running once I get it live. So that's just not something I'm willing to do right now. But I do have a website. It's at litgood.com. It's got a bunch of my photography showing on there. And, if you see something you like, let me know. If there's certain subjects that you're interested in, send me an email. Just send me a shout. Send me a comment in the platform that you're watching this in. And we can go from there. So now for the useful information part of this series. In today's video, people are asking, what's it like living in a homeless shelter? That's the option that I chose to take instead of sleeping out in the woods. As I told you, I'm on federal probation right now for after serving 20 months in federal prison for a political social media post. Actually, it was a few posts, but it was one post in particular that caused the FBI to come to my house with a tank and smash my house to smithereens, dragging me and my 12-year-old son out of the house at gunpoint and hauling me off to prison, where I never even saw what outside looked like for 14 months. I never saw the sun. I never saw a tree. We're just not going to get into that too deep today, but I'm on federal probation. So if I had to tell my probation officer that I chose to sleep out in the woods and be homeless when there was an offer on the table for a place to sleep, he'd probably have a problem with that. So my options were go burn all my money at a hotel, which wouldn't even last a weekend, and then apply for emergency shelter, or take the offer that was given to me to go to the homeless shelter in town and pay $50 a week to be there until my money runs out. And then I can, we'll make other arrangements or whatever. So that's the option I chose. So far, it's okay, but there's some things I can tell you about what that's like. Here in Jamestown, it's a Christian-based shelter. It's called the UCAN Mission. Very Christian-based, very good people. Every single person that works there has been very kind to me, very respectful, very generous. I'm nothing but grateful for the opportunity to have a roof over my head, and this place is very clean. There's lockers to keep your stuff secure. There's places to keep larger items, like if you brought a bicycle or, in my case, a 60-pound hiking backpack. They have a place to keep that secure. They've given me things that I didn't bring myself. Certain hygiene supplies that weren't in my backpack already. They gave me a tiny backpack to use for my first couple of days until I found this office bag that I picked up at the Salvation Army for $7. Really good people, really generous. That's the good side. The bad side for me is when you're an independent guy who likes to, do your own thing, as most of us are. There's a lot of rules at a place like this that you have to follow and go along with and be willing to put up with, or they'll just tell you to leave. So in a way, it's almost like I got sent back to prison because there's so many little nitpicking rules that it would take me 10 minutes to list them all. And a lot of them are bad. But at the same time, you got people showing up at this place. You got drunks, drug addicts. You've got people with severe mental disabilities. You've got a lot of people who are showing up to this place who need help. But if they just turned it into a free-for-all for everybody, what would end up happening is people would go out and getting drunk and getting high and getting all kinds of messed up, and then just stumbling back into the shelter at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 in the morning, just to get the free bed to sleep on. And so you've got that. You've got other rules that are more or less meant to keep everybody's property safe and to make it so that people can get a night's sleep without being interrupted. So the rule that drives me the most crazy is an 11 o'clock bedtime. And I'm not saying 11 o'clock go lay down and get ready to go to sleep, or go sit somewhere quiet, or go someplace and read a book. No, at 11 o'clock, you got to go to bed and get in bed with the lights off and go to sleep. Like, you can't have your phone. You can't take a book somewhere and read it. You can't do anything to wind down. You go to bed. You have to go to bed, and you're treated. It's like when I was in prison, I wasn't even treated this much like a little kid when it comes to beddy bye time. That's driving me nuts a little bit, but I've got ways to deal with it. I'm making sure that I'm keeping my day so full of activity, job searching, all the other things that I'm up to, that by the time 11 o'clock gets here, I'm ready to go to sleep. And I know that another rule is that you have to get up at 7 a.m. no matter what. You're up at 7 a.m. You have to be out of the shelter at 9 in the morning. Out. You cannot come back to the shelter until 4 in the afternoon. So everything that you need for that day, for whatever you're getting into, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, you got to take it with you at 9 a.m. when you leave. You can't even come back to pick up something that you forgot. If you forgot it, you're done. You're done for the day. I forgot a cable that I needed yesterday to do something on my computer when I was at the library. Tough titties. You're out of luck. You're going to have to wait until tomorrow. So I had to wait a day just because it was either go to a store and buy a cable, or wait until tomorrow to go back and put that cable in my bag so that it would be there with me today. You can't have any outside food or drink at all. I walked in with a half a bottle of Gatorade that I hadn't finished yet, and boy, oh boy, a couple of people got really upset about that. Once again, maybe it's to keep people from showing up with a bottle of hooch and getting drunk while they sit there at the shelter all night. I get it. They got to come up with some rules to keep people in line, and so that they don't want to make this place attractive, and you don't want to make a place like this a place where you can just chill and kick back and just be like, yeah, this is perfect. This is all I need. And then you lose all your motivation to go out and find a job or to go out and make a better, plan for yourself. So, I'm irritated at the fact that I feel like I'm getting punished by getting sent to this place for something that really wasn't my fault. I'm not going to get into it, but that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow, but I'm swallowing it, and I'm just taking the good more than the bad and not focusing on the things I don't like. They're very restrictive. You have to sign in and out when you come and go. You have to tell them where you're going throughout the day. Are they going to check on you? I don't know. I don't have any reason to be dishonest. I'm going to the library. I'm looking for a job. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It is what it is. So I'll just sign in, sign out, write down what I'm up to, whatever. They just want to make sure that you are being responsible and that you're doing what you have to do to try and get back on your feet. This is not supposed to be a permanent place to live. This is supposed to be an emergency situation, help for you to get back on your feet. I get it. One time when I came into the shelter, they searched my bag completely. Like, they had me set my bag up on the counter, and they went through everything in it to the point where I was like, whoa, you got to be careful with that. Like, I had some electronic equipment and some things I didn't want being just, manhandled. But they opened up my laptop. I have a zipped up Thule super rugged MacBook case inside this bag. They opened that up. They pulled the MacBook out. They opened up the MacBook. I mean, they went crazy. Like, the guards at the prisons didn't even search me as hard as I was getting searched coming back from a job search that day. So it's like prison light, except you can leave. Like, I could just say, you know what, I'm going to go live in the woods. I could just go grab my bag and grab all my stuff and walk out the door. They can't stop me. So there's no fence keeping me in there. And so, at the same time, I'm meeting good people. I'm meeting a lot of people that are in bad situations, just like I was meeting when I was in prison. And it just gives you a different perspective on your life. Like, there was a period in my life where I just couldn't be happy. I was making well over six figures. I had a dream home. I had multiple vehicles. I had everything that you would want in life, including friendships and relationships and everything else you can think of. And I just couldn't be happy. I just couldn't be happy with what I had. I was always miserable about some dumb thing at work or whatever the case may be. I just couldn't be grateful for what I had. That wasn't always the case, and I was always grateful to a large extent, but there was always a part of me that just, it's probably always going to be with me. There's just certain people, there's just certain situations where that's also an asset sometimes. Never being satisfied with what you have is a motivator to go out and get something better or to make your life better. But there are times where that becomes the opposite. It becomes a burden. It becomes a problem in your life because you can never be happy. You can never be satisfied. You basically turn into an ungrateful piece of trash who just, can't be happy with what you have. So those are some of the things about living in the homeless shelter. They give us 2 meals a day, pretty decent breakfast, pretty decent sized dinner, and there's plenty of food. I am never leaving that table feeling hungry. In fact, I normally eat 2 meals a day when I'm just kind of left to my own. In fact, most of my life I eat 2 meals a day. I don't eat 3 meals a day. So I really haven't spent any of my my EBT card. I haven't even really used that yet because they're feeding us there, and I'm not that hungry. I'm kind of hungry right now. I think I am going to go get some food on your dime after I'm done shooting this video. And one more aspect about the homeless shelter and this whole coming and going and the curfews and such, it's so restrictive that they told me up front that I could be out late if it was for the purpose of having a job, and I assumed going on a job interview would count as that. Well, I got a job interview tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. And, it's a fast food worker, just shitty minimum wage job. And whatever, I have no pride right now. I'll take whatever I can get. But when I told them yesterday that I had a job interview at 9 p.m., I'm not going to make the 9 p.m. curfew if I go to this interview, I kind of got an attitude about it. And they told me I had to bring back proof that I went on the interview and all this other stuff. And so I ended up having to call the hiring manager at this place and ask him if I could get proof of the interview, that I came to the interview. And that conversation got really weird, which I didn't want that. Before going on an interview, the last thing I want is to make things weird before I even walk in the door. And the hiring manager said, well, why do you need that? And it just got weird. And so then I had to tell the guy, well, I might not be able to make the interview if you can't reschedule it during the day, which that's making me look even worse. And by the time it was all said and done, I said, I will call you at 6:15 tomorrow, after you're in, and I'll let you know for sure whether I'm coming or not. And we'll just leave it at that. So now I'm going to have to call him. So I was able to straighten this out with people at the shelter this morning. The people in charge of the shelter said that would be fine. You'll be able to get back in. Nobody's going to leave you out, et cetera, et cetera. We'll take care of it. Just send us a screenshot or forward the email showing us that you got the job interview, and that's all we'll need. And so once again, I'm being treated like I'm a 10-year-old kid. And I'm a grown freaking man. But it got to the point where they got in the way of me getting a job, possibly because of this whole threatening to keep me locked out for the night with nothing but a t-shirt and a pair of jeans, without even my 60-pound rucksack to keep me protected from the elements at night. And I was a little irritated about that. And and things got weird with this hiring manager and now I have to walk 3 miles to go to a job interview at 9 p.m., go do however long the interview is, probably half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and then I got to walk 3 miles back. And the walking, I don't care. None of this bothers me. The only part of it that bothers me is I had to go and make things weird with the hiring manager and try to dance. I'm not going to be like, well, I'm homeless and I needed to, I need to tell you this up front, blah, blah, blah. No. So things got a little weird, and, all I'm trying to do is get whatever job that somebody's willing to give me. And if they say start tomorrow, boom, let's start tomorrow. I don't care. I just want to do what I have to do to get a roof over my head. So that was one thing about the homeless shelter that got on my nerves. And there's other things, little rules, having to ask permission just to go up to the bedroom and get something out of your bin, or having to ask permission to go down and watch TV. They have this recreation room lounge area, but it's very restrictive as to when you can go in there and when you're not allowed to go in there. And, that's kind of weird. And, I understand they've got these rules for reasons that, and I'm not asking for special treatment or nothing like that. But it's definitely not something that I would wish any of you to go through. Just to go through something like that, just to have a roof over your head for, however long it takes until you figure things out. If I didn't have probation and some other factors working against me, it's kind of a 50-50 toss-up whether I'd go live in the woods under a hammock, or under a tarp and sleeping in a hammock or a bivy sack, or go into a homeless shelter. There's pros and cons to both. I don't want to, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or make anything sound better than it is. But it's definitely not all bad. The people are wonderful. They're really there to help. They're doing a lot of good. I mean, this is like a jewel in this community that I'm in. It's one of the best things I've seen in this whole community in terms of people banding together to help those less fortunate than themselves. And, I really can't say enough good things about it too. But this video is about giving you information that, if you're ever facing this kind of situation, these are some of the things that you'll have to think about yourself. So with that said, I'm hearing all kinds of noise in the background, and we're at over 20 minutes again. So I don't know how to keep these things at 10 minutes. So I'm just going to stop it right here, and until tomorrow, peace out.